welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to do something a little special. We're going to do an install video of a BBK 62mm throttle body for my 2002 Jeep Wrangler TJ 4.0 liter straight six. Now this video, if you're watching this, thank you for clicking on the video, but it's going to be very thorough. Therefore, it's going to be a little bit longer of a video. So I hope you don't find things boring, but I'm trying to make it very step by step and kind of user friendly, to say it nicely. That basically anybody, I'm not a professional mechanic, I'm just a hobbyist mechanic, and I just want to do this video so that way you in your driveway, you think you don't have any mechanical skills, anybody can do this. It's very, very simple. It's not intimidating. It's not hard at all. And I'll give you my impressions here of at the end of the video of what I think of it. Just wanted to preface that with saying that this video may be a little thorough and maybe something that you think is boring or kind of obvious as we go through the steps. But anyway, with all that being said, I hope you enjoy this video. I hope you find it informative and helpful. And with that being said, we'll cut right to the footage of getting this thing installed. I am going to take you through step by step today and learn as I go as well, installing a BBK 62mm throttle body on this Jeep 4.0. This is a 2002 Jeep Wrangler with the 4.0 and 195-ish thousand miles. I want to do a little bit of a performance upgrade to it. I do have a cold air intake. I do have an exhaust on it as well, which is a Flowmaster High Flow Cat and a Banks catback exhaust system. So that's about as performance as I go on this Jeep. And it's not a hot rod. It doesn't need to be a performance motor. But I saw this BBK 62mm throttle body and I thought, hey, that's kind of cool. I might give that a shot. Heard good things about it. I didn't really see too many bad reviews. So anyway, that's what this video is about. If you're interested in installing a throttle body on your 91 to 03 Jeep Wrangler 4.0, this video is for you. Stay tuned and we'll get right to work. All right, everybody, we're out here under the hood of the Jeep, and this here is my air intake tube, the valve cover. I'm standing on the driver's side of the Jeep. Here's my brake, master cylinder, reservoir, all that good stuff. The evap stuff is right here. Intake manifold is right here. This is a throttle body right here. This is what we're going to remove. We're going to start by taking off the return spring and also the linkage right here. This is your throttle cable that goes all the way to your pedal. This comes off. I actually loosened it already, but this part right here, this linkage comes off just like this. You take a little screwdriver in there and pop it right off. No big deal. This one right here, you take and you pull towards your driver's side and it comes off. There's actually a little notch right there that sits in. So that's gonna get out of the way. This is out of the way. Perfect. As you can see, this is right here. That's your throttle right there. When this hooks onto there, pulls back, and that's what makes it go. So we're also going to take off this map sensor. And back here is a throttle position sensor. Behind it, I'll show you that in a second. And over here on this side is the IAC housing. We're going to replace all those sensors. Reason being, these are pretty old. These are working okay, but I did replace my IAC, which is over here on this side, with a cheaper one from AutoZone. And I'll take you inside and show you when I put it all back together. The new 62mm throttle body. I got all original Mopar sensors and parts. Now, they weren't cheap, but it was recommended to me to do that to begin with, and I really should have listened. Don't cheap out on these sensors. Don't get the cheap ones from Amazon or anything like that. Get the Mopar. It's definitely worth the extra cost. So, all right, let's start by let's just take this air intake off a while. All right, get that screwdriver out of the way and pop this thing up and off the throttle body, being careful not to get anything down into the actual throttle body itself right here. Now I'm also going to remove up here this part right here on the cross tube like so I can just move this out of the way like that. And there we can see a little better the throttle body itself right here, exactly what we're looking at. I hope you have enough light. Again, IAC is right here. The map sensor is right here, and your throttle position sensor is right here. And the tab is broken on the one clip, so I have it ingeniously zip tied together here, if you can see that. So I'll cut them free, and we'll get these sensors pulled off of here. So we'll go ahead and unplug this sensor right here. We'll also go ahead and unplug our IAC, which is over here as well. Just gonna squeeze the tab and just pop that connector right off of there, like that. And the same way with this one right here. Just give that a squeeze, tang right here, and just pop him right off. All right, so we got our sensor disconnected. So we have 1, 2, 3, and 4 bolts to take off to actually take the throttle body off of the intake manifold. There should be a gasket between the manifold and the throttle body. So I'll grab my 10mm socket, and I'm gonna get this one first. Loosen that one up, loosen this one up here. Okay, there's 1 bolt and washer. Try to do this without blocking the camera. 2 bolt and washer, 3 bolts and washers. Now I know a lot of you are gonna probably say, well, just clean your IAC, because I am having some idling issues. I've cleaned it, there's number 4. I've cleaned it, I've replaced it, and I don't think there's a vacuum leak at all anywhere. I mean, there could be, but I haven't found one yet. I really think it's just a cheap sensor. The original one that was in here, whether it was Mopar or not, I'll put a picture in right now or video of the spring. Everything actually came apart. It came unthreaded and it fell apart. So it was definitely needed replaced, and I should have replaced it with the factory Mopar sensor. So all right, now we'll very carefully lift this up and out of the way. And there you can see the base of our intake manifold. This is actually the horseshoe type, so it's the high performing manifold, but everything's nice and clean right here at the base, which you want to make sure. I'm going to take some brake clean and clean this up before I put the new sensor or the new throttle body on there and gasket, which I'll show you that then. I'm actually going to grab a rag and shove that in here right now. And then we're gonna take the throttle body inside where it's nice and warm into my basement and set you up down there, and I'll show you swapping everything over from this throttle body to the new 62mm high flow, whatever you wanna call it, BBK throttle body. So I'm gonna grab a rag and I'll shove that in there. Alrighty guys and gals, we're gonna shove this down in here without getting any dirt dropping down in the engine. So we're just gonna shove that in there for now. Good. That'll keep us from getting dirt down into the intake manifold, which we definitely do not want. We'll go inside, I'll meet you in there at the bench, and we'll get everything swapped over. Stay tuned. All right, buddy, we are inside here at my Inside RC studio. You may have recognized this from several other videos I've produced here. This is where I shoot my RC stuff. This is where I take some cool pictures and set everything up. It's 4 foot wide by 2 foot deep. It's a really cool little setup. I have some track lights here so I can aim lights and do different things. But I figured this would be a good place to showcase this and build this thing up rather than out in the freezing cold. It's a lot warmer in the basement here than it is outside at the Jeep right now, where it's like 25, 30 degrees. Maybe not quite that cold, but it's at least like in the mid 30s. Here is my factory throttle body. We just took that off the Jeep, and I did separate the gasket from the base right here. We will not reuse that. That will go away. This one here does come with a new gasket set. It comes with a gasket for the actual throttle body, the IAC housing, and a couple other different sets. I'll show you that when I open it up. But the difference here between this one and this one, supposedly, is this is a 60mm and this is a 62mm. Now, it's a big debate if it makes a big difference or not, but I'd like to try it. I mean, the price point is not too bad, and the cool thing is it's made in the USA. Part number is right here, 1724 for 91 to 2003 Jeep Wrangler or Cherokee with the 4.0. Now, this is again what I was talking about. I went and got factory Mopar actual sensors. So here is my new IAC, here's my new map sensor, and this is my throttle position sensor right here. This comes with the actual hardware, this does not, and this comes with the hardware and the little O-ring that seals this to the housing here. Well, we'll go on this one, so you don't get any vacuum leaks or any type of leaks whatsoever. Here is the new BBK throttle body. So we'll go ahead and we'll open this thing up. It comes nicely packaged. And there she is, right there. Nicely built, nicely machined. Just a really all-around nice unit. Very, very impressed. First impressions. There it is next to the original one. Let's hold this thing up here. I know this has all its sensors and everything on it, but you can actually see that is just like visually, I can see that it's visually, this one's bigger than the actual factory one. So the goal here is to let more air to fuel in there and mix. Now I'm not gonna put a throttle body spacer on. That's a real big Pandora's box of if that's a benefit or not. A lot of guys claim that it does make a big difference. I beg to think that it doesn't do anything. So let's go ahead Oh, look at that, guys. I got a nice sticker set from BBK. Oh my goodness, isn't that sweet? And I think, what else did I get? Some type of little, it's like a little bit if I need help, I can scan the code, blah, blah, blah. With this here, before I get rid of this box, I should show you guys this. You do get your gaskets and, well, a little booklet as well. But more importantly, besides the stickers and everything else, you do get new gaskets. This was a big question that I found online, was do you need to buy gaskets or do you get gaskets with the set? So you do get new hardware and you do get new gaskets for your truck. Hey, look, you even get a Torx bit. I didn't even notice that. And a little plug there. So now to do this here, you need a 20mm Torx and a 25mm Torx. And I have my little screwdriver here to get it done. You will need the 20mm Torx on your IAC right here, and you'll also need it on your throttle position sensor. The 25 you'll need on your map sensor right there. It's pretty simple. This is something that you guys can do even if you're not very mechanically inclined. This is something that I think anybody could do. Oh boy. All right, so we're going to take a minute here and clean this up real well, because this gasket here might have been my issue all along. This old gasket is just falling apart. I don't know if you can see that here. It's just literally falling apart. So let's get that off there, because I'm going to reuse this housing on the new one here. This is actually going to go right on there. Yeah, we got to get this old gasket off here, which is just crumbling to pieces, as you can see. That's what this unit right here replaces. You know, that's what this new gasket replaces. So yeah, let's get that off there and get her cleaned up. And all right, I'm gonna take this outside, clean it up with a little bit of brake clean in there, and get that residue and everything off there. I'll be right back. Alrighty, everybody, we are back. Whew, my hands are freezing and dried out from the brake clean, but here is the IAC housing all cleaned up, gasket removed, everything nice and clean. I just took a little bit of a razor blade to that, and very carefully, you don't want to gouge this up because it's aluminum and very, very easy to gouge. Your O-ring sits in there. I cleaned that out. I even cleaned inside the housing. I should have grabbed a little brush and kind of like toothbrush or something and got in there, but I got what I could with the brake clean, got it all cleaned up pretty well. And we're gonna get that put onto the new throttle body. So my hands are freezing, and if anybody's ever used brake clean, it evaporates so quickly, and probably not really good for your hands, but it cleans your hands really well, but it dries them out very, very badly. It's freezing outside. So let's go ahead. I do have a rag right here, and we're just gonna make sure this is nice and clean here. No fuzzies, no nothing on it. Now we're gonna take our gasket, and it goes on one way. You want that thing to line up there perfectly, not this way, not this way. You want it to line up just right, like so, right on there, so it flows perfectly through there. What I'm gonna do is take one of these screws, and I'm gonna get that started in my gasket, like so, and there's a little tang right here on the actual housing. I don't know if you can see that right there. I'm gonna get that started so that those screws actually hold the gasket in place. And I'm gonna grab some blue Loctite just to make sure they stay sealed and set in the actual housing when we bolt it onto the throttle body. So let me grab some thread locker, and we'll do that. So maybe you guys can answer this. Why does Loctite put blue thread locker in a red container, but the red Loctite is in a blue container? So this is medium grade. Basically it is removable. The red stuff is like the extreme non-removable, but I don't know why they put it in the wrong colors, if you ask me. But anyway, that's beside the point. So I'm gonna take and just put a little dollop inside all these threads on here, so that way that they actually seal up, and it can be removed, but this is aluminum. You don't want to over torque these, because you will definitely strip those screws out or crack something. So just go easy, and like I said, I'm just gonna put a little dollop in each A little hole there, just on the threads, not a lot. Looks like more than what it is because it kind of like bubbles out there, but I'm gonna just put a little bit of this in there. I don't know if that's right or wrong, but that's what I'm gonna do. We got our gasket on there, as you can see. This is a nice clean surface. So we're gonna lay our unit right on there, and the IAC, the housing is gonna face, the opening is gonna face that way, like so. I'm just making it nice and snug. I'm not over tightening these because I do not want to strip them out. That would be, that would stink. So we're gonna just snug them up, let that blue Loctite do its job. So now we have our IAC housing mounted onto the new throttle body. Now we're going to take our IAC, which I'll lay this down right here. Get that out of the way, get this cleaned up. Our new IAC, which is, like I said, an actual Mopar part, kind of stinks. It actually says it's made in Mexico, but this is the IAC, and that comes with hardware, some sealant on the threads, and an O-ring right there. So let's get this thing mounted up. Now, when you put this in here, I'm gonna say make sure that your O-ring is seated in that groove, and as this goes in, it does not pop it out of that groove. Just like that. So nice and easy, pop it in, and take our new hardware, and I oriented it, I forget how it was, but I oriented it with the clip facing the Jeep. So when you're looking at it from the passenger driver side, you're gonna see that clip right here, and it's not gonna be on the back side where the fuel rail is, and you can't access it. So that's what I'm thinking. That's how I think it went in, but I can't quite remember, even though I literally just did it. All right, we'll get these snugged up as well. And good. There is starting to look more and more like what the old one looked like. We have, this is how it looks like when you're looking at it in the Jeep from the driver's side. You have your throttle position sensor mounted. We have our IAC housing right here cleaned up, mounted with the gasket in between, with our IAC and connector ready to go. Now we're gonna move on to the map sensor right here. That is gonna go on right like so, and we're gonna reuse that existing hose. We're gonna reuse this hardware that's on the original throttle body. So we're gonna get our 25mm Torx, change it out right here, and we're just gonna take him off there. 1 and 2. Okay, reuse those screws, pop this off, and take off this hose. So we got that removed from the hose. Now let's get this removed from the throttle body. Come on, don't come apart on me. Ever so gently, pop that little guy off of there. That was the scariest part. I did not want to tear this to have to find another one. I mean, I'm sure you can, but it's not a big deal. I just don't want this to be the holdup today to make this thing run. So we're gonna take this here, this little 90-degree rubber connector, and we're gonna slide that over this right here. So as you can see, hopefully you can see this in the video, that's on there, and our map sensor is ready to go on. What I'm gonna do, take again a little bit of this, just a little tiny bit of this, which again is probably not necessary, but I'm going to do it anyway. And we're gonna run that into the housing here, get that started, and we'll do the same thing on this other one. Make sure it's clean. All right. Get that started in there. I'll go ahead and snug these up. These are pretty snug. Snug. Not overdoing it, but making them pretty good. All right, here is your new throttle body, ready to roll. Here is our return spring clip. Here is our throttle clip right here. As you can see, it opens up that butterfly in there. Got our map sensor, got our throttle position sensor, and our IAC installed and ready to go. Now we're gonna grab our gasket, and you can use this new hardware. I think I'm just gonna reuse my factory stuff. And we're gonna go out to the Jeep and make sure we get a nice clean base right here and get her installed. Okay, everybody, we are back out here at the Jeep. I'm gonna go ahead and pull this out of the way. And I'm gonna grab just a little bit of brake clean, and I'm going to put some on a rag right here. And just clean up this right here, just a little tiny bit. Just so we have a nice and guaranteed clean mounting and mating surface right in here like so. And we'll do the same thing. I'll shoot a little bit of brake clean onto the base of the new throttle body. All right, get that thing sitting in there nice and square. And we're gonna lay our throttle body down right on top. Like so. So we're almost done. We're on the home stretch. Okay, change of plans. You can't use these bolts. Don't try to use the stock bolts. You have to use what comes in the kit, because the throttle body housing itself is bigger, and this actually hits the, let me just show you. If you can see okay here, this is actually too big. You can't get your socket in there against the side, so you do have to use the bolts that come with the kit. Don't hate me, guys, I'm learning as I go too. Okay, so here's your hardware you're gonna use. That is what comes with the kit. It's an Allen wrench. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, let me grab an Allen wrench. Okay, they are a metric socket, or a metric Allen wrench, and they are a size 5mm socket right there. I'm sorry, 5mm Allen. And I'm just gonna get these things started here so that they're all started. You don't want to tighten one. You want to get them all kind of started here. And threading in real nice. Okay, now I'm going to start snugging them up. So I'm going to snug that down by finger tight. This down finger tight. This one over here down finger tight. And this one down finger tight. Now I'm going to grab a socket here. And we're going to just snug it up. Now you are going into aluminum. Be mindful of that. Don't overdo it. They were not very tight to begin with. I'm just holding my hand right here on the wrench, and I'm just going till it's snug. I'm not putting any pressure out at the end of the wrench. I'm holding it right here at the face. So that way I don't strip out my intake manifold. The key here this whole time has been you're working with some aluminum and some metals that aren't exactly good. I shouldn't say aren't exactly good. They're not very kind if you really crank on them and you don't want to split or crack or strip anything out. All right, it's all clean. There's nothing in there yet. So we're gonna take the moment here while this is out of the way. We're gonna just take our throttle cable and we're gonna just pop that back on right there. And this is our return spring, as I said, right here. And I guess that's what it is. And just pop that back on like so. So now we have a functioning throttle body right here. What I'm going to do next, before I go and hook this up, is I'm going to go over to the battery and I'm going to disconnect the negative for a few minutes. That way it resets the computer and it can relearn these sensors right here. I don't know what yours is, but mine's a 1/2 inch. So I'm going to loosen this up. Have some accessories on it. Loosen this so I can actually loosen this part right here, and then work that off there, just like so. Get that out of the way. Took the negative off the battery. Now we'll go back over here to the throttle body, and while that's resetting and doing its thing, let's hook these sensors back up. All right, map sensor is right here, and that click and go right back on. IEC is right here. That's gonna go on like so. Click. And this throttle position sensor will go back on there like so, but I'll have to zip tie that on there because, like I said, this is actually broken. Somebody broke this right here. The tab doesn't actually do anything anymore on the harness itself. Okie dokie. So got the tube, the vent tube here hooked back up. I got the actual air intake tube hooked back up to the throttle body. Double checked everything is connected. The map sensor, the IAC, and the throttle position sensor, our cables are attached. Nothing else is undone. All the vacuum lines are still hooked up. We didn't bump anything. We got the battery hooked back up and tightened up my battery because it was loose. So hopefully that reset. It might take a minute to actually reset itself. And tomorrow I'll probably actually take it for a drive and we'll take you along and see how everything goes. Don't gonna get any check engine lights or anything like that, but let's go ahead and give her a crank and see what happens. Because it's like 30 degrees out right now. Awesome. See how it turns out. All right, so now we're here at the end. Thank you so much for making it to the end. If you did make it to the end, we're gonna take this thing for a spin. And my seatbelt, can't hear it now. It's squeaky. It's cold. Hopefully the wind noise is cut down. I got the windows up in the front. I do got the windows out in the back. It's like 30 degrees outside. Can you hear that? Stupid seatbelt is squeaking. I know. I'll give you my impression as we're driving. This isn't going to give you an actual real world like, oh my gosh, well, how am I supposed to know? Is he telling the truth? Is it worth it? Is it not worth it? I don't have a dyno or access to a dyno to share those results with you, but I will honestly tell you, this is worth the cost. I'm telling you right now, it's worth the absolute cost, especially if a cold air intake. You have exhaust, all that different stuff on there. A throttle body spacer, I'm not sure if I really believe in those, but this woke the Jeep up. The throttle is definitely snappier, it's a lot peppier, and it's a lot more fun to drive. So let's get going. So right away, you'll notice that the throttle is snappier when you put this thing in. It has a lot more pep, get up and go. And it's just a lot more peppy. It actually really woke the Jeep up. Now again, this 4.0 is not like, it has 195,395 miles on it. So as far as I am concerned, the original motor here. So I don't think it's making quite the peak power that it could or once did. But every little bit helps, and this thing really woke the motor up as far as response. Like when you crack the throttle, it just wants to pop. There's no delay, there's no lag, there's no, I guess I better get going. It really woke the Jeep up. Now, I'm running 35-inch tires on 410 gears, and going 40 mile an hour, there's fifth gear. It's not lugging, it's not like, I can actually speed up in fifth gear a little bit. It's not like it's a powerhouse, but it definitely is not a slug like some people lead you to believe. There's fourth gear, accelerating from 35, about quarter throttle up to 35, 40. It's got plenty of pep. So I will say that. With that being said, I know this isn't probably the best way to demonstrate how well this thing performs with the new throttle body on it, but I will tell you that it's definitely better. So I will definitely recommend this. I would say it's definitely worth every penny. Putting all those new sensors and everything in there. When I come to a stop, like when I put a neutral coast, it drops down below 1,000 RPMs. Before, it would actually fluctuate to like 1,100, maybe 1,300, back down to 800, back up. It would kind of like flutter as it came to a stop. So putting that new, I think, idle air control and all the other different sensors in there made a big difference. It definitely, it doesn't have any more idling issues. It definitely evened out the idle, made it a lot smoother. New spark plugs did that as well. But I will definitely say that it made a big difference. Alrighty, so the GoPro died, but I just took this thing around the block for the very first drive, and holy cow, guys and gals. I know a lot of you might say that throttle body might not make a big difference without this, without that. That response, the throttle response, the snap of the throttle is 1,000 times better. It is a lot snappier. It's got a lot more pep. I'm excited to drive this a little more because that made a big difference. And I know a lot of people have that like placebo, like, oh, it's wonderful, it's well worth the $200 some, but I'm telling you right now, that made a huge difference. That throttle body made a humongous difference. So more to come. This was the install video. I'll show you more and let you know how things progress the more I like them. If I like it, if I recommend it, if I don't recommend it. But as of right now, I give it a big time thumbs up to BBK and the bigger throttle body. So thank you guys so much for watching. We'll catch you on the next one, and hope you enjoyed this video. Leave a comment down below, give it a thumbs up, share it, like, tag, and follow. Thank you so much. We'll catch you next time. Oh, I do want to say it also evened out my idle really, really well there. She would really float around, not a lot, but enough that it would kind of just be annoying. And I also got this really cool little thing off Amazon, really cool USB charger, but it also tells you the voltage readout of what the alternator's putting out. Kind of cool. So again, more updates to come. Thanks again for watching.